convert to paid up retirement or paid up PEI in retirement. So they started charging us this number, allocating money toward it and charging us for a portion of it to make that liability go down. And that's been on the books for probably at least 10 years now. The unfunded retirement liability, that's the number we talked about above. So literally we just put a plus and a minus in there and it nets to zero. Indirect costs, that comes from our projects in Fund 61. They did not have that plan ready this year. It's my first year that they've not had it ready. So they must have had some glitches on their side. So that is an old rate and that could fluctuate several $1,000s in either direction by the time that's finalized. Okay, so let's go back to 129. That is what I believe, in my best estimate, we will finish 2026 with, is $2.5 million. We are required to budget an amount, positive or negative, whatever we think, and of course we have to have basis for it, so I have a whole spreadsheet developed to it. None of us have had super good luck with that being the actual number, but it's, it's reasonable. Then what I do is back up there in the line I told you we would put off, in line 120, I budget what we don't need of it in that line for contingencies. The rest of the money that's in that fund balance goes to balance the budget. So this year we used about $242,000 more of our carryover to balance the budget than we did last year, which with these kind of dollars is very reasonable. That means our expenses have stayed kind of static.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen way worse jumps in my career. Okay, any questions about those? And then I'm going to jump back over to your local projects.
On 132, miscellaneous, $10 and then it increased by $14.90. What's
Well-
miscellaneous?
I agree, it looks weird. My balance right now miscellaneous is $1,827.77. So I was just budgeting conservatively. And apparently we just had gotten some things that had no other place to go this year that we did not get in the year prior, because I try to make that pretty close to what we had collected this year.
Okay.
And I took over all receiving as of this year, so it's been a little more consistent. Not that Devin didn't do a great job of it, but he didn't know where some of the stuff went as much as I do. So some of it, I think I have now, it's gonna be a little more consistent. Okay, so back to page 1, which is actually page 2 in yours, because I did that cute little graphic at the front page. I know you guys love that. Okay, so the very first one there, that's the budget we just went over. It says county and all zeros. That's the main meat and potatoes of the budget. Then we have down below that, all of the special projects that we either already had on the books and we're adding more money in, or we are adding due to, things that you guys have wanted to see. Until we get down to where it says step 7, and those are prescribed numbers from the state. We are not required now by law to put those monies in those buckets. But the counties that have chosen to not do that have really, I think, regretted it, because if they didn't put money in bus replacement, where were they gonna buy their next bus? And some counties were getting pretty stretched thin on those bus years, because you can only use them for so many years and they have the cycles. So in Gilmer County, at least since I've been here, now from what I could see a long time before that, even once the state made those optional, we left them in their particular buckets.
And not to beat a dead horse. However, if we would be able to talk about this, not only would we be able to discuss it amongst ourselves, but we could also kind of get a little review on some of those things, like
Sure.
Project Connect. We could be like, let's look back at what Project Connect has done the past year and say, well, with that money this year, we added this, got to cover these games, got to do this. The Junior Appalachian Project. Okay, well, we went from 10 kids the first year. We did it again. Now we're up to 30 kids, and, so-and-so just had a recital, and all grandmas and grandpas were happy and clapped. But we could,
So with that, add a review of the actual
some of them, yes, not all of them, but we can just,
be able to.
so we can speak on it, when we're out in the community. I think that's the greatest, the more involved and the more tuned into where the money and what it's actually going to, just helps. It helps get that levy passed. It helps get the excess levy, of course, and it helps push the common goal of the district.
What's vehicle purchases? What's that?
Well, we had a large number in there last year. We were able to get the 3, we still don't have 2 of them, but we were able to put the money toward those. Now, we would like to try to put this in the yearly budget and replace them on a cycle.
So
The
put a
next
little
step
bit
is gonna,
away each
yes.
year and
Like the
then.
buses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't let them go until they're, $1,500 at a
Get a little money out of
auction,
them.
but maybe we get $20,000 out of one of them.
And I think the priority each year will have to be determined each year because of that. Like whatever we definitely don't want on the road anymore is what we're gonna try to trade out. And that may mean hopefully at the end of the cycle, we're gonna be replacing pretty decent stuff with brand new stuff. So that we can stay on a cycle and not, like the 3 from this year, I hope we will do those 1 each year when we get to that point.
What tree removal are we doing?
That was just an addition that we made for tree removal anywhere. We know we're gonna have to have some. So you will still be presented with those things if they're bid. Now, if it's under 10,000 and they just issue a purchase order, you guys may not see that, but typically Dr. Henning will already have had you, well informed of specific projects as they happen.
We got a couple trees to clean up, and then we have tree cutting out beside your storage building that needs to be cut back kind of annually from here on. Yeah. And we
And
just
the fence around the back along the river.
and we just guessed at a number what that might cost of bringing a tree trimming company in. And a lot of people want the trees trimmed where you can see the old high school again, how they used to be trimmed, where you could drive past it.
I would like to comment on that one.
I'm gonna save you. We don't own the property. We can't do it.
That's good.
It's under our purview. It's not under our purview.
Belongs to the old family, the house burned down.
No, it actually belongs to the library and Alvin Engelkey.
Well, Engelkey was where the house burned down.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I've been involved in 2. One of them was recent. And I was involved in one of the first mock shooting drills in a school in this state. Those trees are very important if I look at something, because my job is to determine how I would keep something from happening. And those people that do that stuff, they may be crazy, but they sure ain't stupid. Those trees keep me from doing something. I can't see. I don't have a field of vision, because that's where I would sit, to be blunt.
So, but that's one spot.
We'll have a talk so far.
We got other places like, those, the storage building, we'll have to keep the trees trimmed back from that on a regular basis. That seems like, I don't know, in that hollow, they grow rapidly.
Why, instead of trimming them, why don't we just simply remove them?
Yeah.
And that way you're not into a yearly expense, because they're serving no purpose other than putting leaves in your gutters. So simply put them on the ground and be rid of them.
Some of those trees might not be, we'll have to see where property lines are on that too. Some of those
Well, but you
trees,
can't
it might
trim.
just be the branches that grow on us, and we are allowed to cut the branches, but we can't always cut the trees. Just throw that out there.
I don't think we own down in the other side.
They make pellets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why we put that in there, is multiple different things.
So the issue that I had was $200,000 allocated for the bolt. And I'm not in favor of that. It was my understanding that when we spent the $150,000, to get new equipment and get everything ready, and then if we're going to put another 25 into the parking lot,
And that's out here, by the way.
Okay, out here.
Because you can't even get out like an emergency. I had one night, it wasn't an emergency, but I had to go
Mhm.
and I was completely blocked in over here one night this winter.
And if we're
So-
gonna, spend an additional 25,000 on parking, and I know you were for it, but
Oh, I know, but no.
it was my understanding that that was going to be raised, that the money for the Bolt building was going to be raised since the school put in the 150,000 and
That bought the equipment, and I'm not, and I
Well,
understand,
but
I'm
we
willing to
did
compromise. So I'm not-
renovation
My
and
head's
stuff
not in the
too.
sand, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
my head's not in the sand, but the parking lot needs to be, because we use the gymnasium for basketball practice, volleyball practice.
I'm not against doing the parking lot.
The parking lot. Also with that, and I was talking to Tony, now, of course, I do want the 200,000.
Well,
but
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, but I understand. No, this is just a temporary thing. I still think that it would be best utilized at the school. I want to build a building that is next to our high school and can be used better.
Well-
However, we did put $200,000 into a bucket, so to speak, last year. And then we didn't pull from that bucket when we bought that weight equipment.
Well, I don't know what you did, but I did not put $200,000 into a bucket.
We did.
I did not.
We did. We voted on it. If you voted on the budget last year, that was it.
Well, like this year, I didn't know this was going to be in the budget until I happened to look at it today and
Yeah.
Cody let me know it was in there.
Yeah.
I am not
Well, here's-
spending
Here's-
$200,000 on a
well,
building.
Here's the other thing you need to consider.
Can I finish just what I was saying though? However, we did buy the weight equipment. So the way I see it,
$150,000.
yes, it might even be north of that with everything if you throw in the
It
parking lot and
might be.
everything else.
Mhm.
So just,
And
this
in
is,
the
this
same
is the
year-
work session I would have liked, so we could have talked about it and negotiated a little bit as board members, on that
And in
number.
the same year, we spent the $175,000 to ensure that all of our students get to continue to use the Waco Center
For the next
for the next
25
20 years or
Yeah,
25 years,
yeah.
whatever that was.
Yeah, we have had a lot of expenditures. And I see where you're,
We have
the
had
sports.
lots of sports expenditures, and I talked to Diane Sharps today, and she said roughly, and I didn't get to get back with her to see if this counted.
the mats.
Well, no, I'm not even talking about that. She said roughly 175 students, but I don't know if that's counting students twice for the people that do 3 sports. So that's less than a third of the kids in our county that are in sports. And so we've had a large expenditure for less than a third of our students this year. And I think until we can show excessive gains in academics, being that that is our sole purpose,
But we haven't got it. We just got it. You're not going to see gains for 3 to 4 years.
you just got what?
We just got the weight room. You're not going to see the gains
Oh,
from
no,
that
I'm not
3 to 4
talking
years.
about that. I'm talking about academic gains,
Oh,
significant academic gains.
I think we've made those significant over the last 3 to 4 years.
I think we have made gains.
Yes,
I think we are
Significant
not
from where
where
we
we
started.
need to be.
I'll agree with that as well.
So,
But what I would
and
like
that's
to
going to
propose,
take money.
can I propose to you this? We still have $200,000 in a bucket. I'm just telling you, to build a building next to our high school, where the old green building sits, the old gym, or the old, where the old weight room sat, and where the old music building when I was in school. We spent $150,000 on weight equipment. I agree with you. I think we still need to focus on education as well.
Mhm.
So from what we've already spent this year, can we not deduct that from that 200,000, change that? And I think what you'll find out is that that number will probably be on the south side of $50,000 this year. And then we can relook at it again next year and see what we can do and what we can put in. What we're trying to raise by ourselves is match money. That's the point that we're getting, because the total project, we're looking at $700,000 to $800,000 to build that building. So
So
we are
when-
trying to get $400,000 together to build
So
the building.
when you ask the community to donate to this building, when you put it out there and said, Gilmer County, this is what we want to do, show us how you support it with your
Yeah.
money, how much money did you raise?
About the same that I got for my baseball team when I went and did that. You
Well,
want to know how much I got for that? Yeah, no,
I mean,
nobody
to
has
me-
any money to give. We live in a poverty-stricken place. That's just
To
the cold hard
me,
facts of it.
The community spoke whenever they did not donate that
Everybody
money
that I've
to
talked to for it, but also you talk about a third of our
it.
kids.
Well, but I think
But when you go to if you go to the game, I tell you what, leave out of here and go out there to that game and see how much of the community comes out here and supports that baseball team.
and that's great.
The softball team.
I mean,
know,
that's
but
great.
it's community involved. Sports are community involved.
So the
It
other
touches a lot
thing,
more
so the
people.
other part of your argument was that you wanted a weight center by the school, by the
Yes.
high school.
Yes.
Okay, so can I speak to that?
Yeah.
So my concern is we all said at the state board meeting where the economists projected that we would have 500 kids in 10 years. So my personal 10-year vision for this county schools does not include the high school.
What do you mean? You don't think we're going to have a high school?
Oh, no, we'll have high school students, but we might have 200 high school students. So how old is that building, Dr. Manning? When was that building built?
16 years, I think.
1955.
So that building,
Oh, you're talking that building, yeah, 1957.
so
First
that
class.
building is, 70
Aged, yes, could barely speak.
some years old.
Yeah.
So if that building is already 70 years old and we've already gotten a quote to build a new high school of $50 million, are we ever in the next 10 years going to be able to pass a bond in Gilmer County to build a $50 million high school for 200 high school students?
No, I don't think we will.
Okay, so in 10
So
years.
what's your point?
So in 10 years, are we going to be using an 80 or 90 or 100-year-old school? Or are we going to move all of our students into the newest building in our county and make modifications to it to make it work for all the students in the county?
So you're saying you see K through 12 being at the grade school is what you're saying?
If we have 500 kids in our county in 10 years,
We would spend less money revamping part of the high school instead of the elementary school. But you do have a problem. The
I
board-
don't have a problem, guys. This
No, no, no.
I-
We-
we're
we-
a collective here.
No, no,
That's
Right.
why.
no, no.
That's why I was trying to negotiate.
well,
with-
and I want to
yeah.
put,
But
Yeah,
we
I
have,
understand.
we have a problem that deals here. That money is in the unrestricted fund, thank goodness. In 1998, if memory serves me right, would have been, it started, and when I left in 2000, there was a new boiler installed in that high school.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Well, that boiler is in worse state than the state man has ever seen. Now, we submitted an SBA project.
Did we hear back from that?
They won't know till June.
June 23rd. is
Now,
when
here's where it gets really nasty. Let's assume they don't approve it, and I don't think the state will approve it. They have a reason for not approving it. So that's basically $1 million. Theoretically, you have $400,000 that you can pay to revamp it. Unrestricted means I can say it's going to project A, but I need it for project B. It got transferred. If that boiler goes south and they don't fund it, we got to fund it.
Yeah.
Now, they could care less where that school exists or not. That's in my opinion, and we all know what opinions are, and we all got one.
well, I agree.
They could care less. Therefore, our kids, if we don't have the money for the boiler, our kids can go to Calhoun, they can go to Braxton, they can go to Clay, they can go to Doddridge, they can go to Ritchie. And that would tickle Charleston to death, because just like Leading Creek, they have their priority one to show to everybody, hey, this is what occurs. So punching that money someplace allows us at least to have a pool that if that thing does go south, that we got a way to do something about it. It doesn't mean it has to be there, but if you punch it something other than a building project, here again, it's me. If we punch it somewhere else other than there, then somebody gets a lot of complaints and they want it used and it's gone. We got a major
So what
major
exactly are you
malfunction.
saying, Larry?
I'd put the $200,000 where it's at, but I'd put it in there, but understand this,
That it might, yeah.
it's going.
Emergencies, yeah,
It's
emergencies
going
are
in,
emergencies.
it's going in a heartbeat. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. You can take it and say, okay, this is going in the boiler fund.
Well,
Same,
let's-
same difference, because he's gonna take the $200,000 from here and put it with that and hope we can get something done. It's where you put it
Yeah, I wanted a motorcycle a couple of years ago too, and then my truck engine blew up and I had to buy a truck. I understand what you're saying.
That's
So-
doable, right, Ginger? If they put money into the bolt and then we have a boiler blow up, we could.
I'm not
Yeah.
putting
Yes.
the money into the Bolt. That was never a plan for me. That's
That's what we've talked about the last 2 years. I understand
No,
that, but I'm willing to
no.
compromise. We voted on it last year.
No, I did not vote to give you an additional 200,000 on top of the 150,000 that we,
We were trying to get to
I've already
700.
spent. It was my understanding you would raise that money. And to me, when the community didn't contribute to that fund,
Well, I can't really say they haven't contributed because there's really not been any process to get them to try to contribute.
Yeah.
We
Nor
talked
have we
about, we
written any
talked about
grants
doing
or
it, but it
tried
all,
to-
then I would suggest you go back and start there.
but like I said, but you got to do
I
something.
could look at other things that I would want to cut. If we
But
want to
here's-
start counting kids in programs, we can go down. And see, I think that's why if we would have had this meeting in May, we could have done a review and reviewed some of what is being used and how it's being used. And
Well, here's the one
Done
thing. We talked about academics. My understanding is the science material, because I beat on one of my former students because he was told to get his list in. He didn't do it. So I told him when I told you I wanted something now, what does that mean? It means I wanted it the day before yesterday. So my understanding is everything that those people wanted, other than the exception of one thing, has been ordered, and it will be ordered when school starts or gets closer to it, because it would have deteriorated and had to be trashed because it was dissecting things. So I think we are putting money in that area. So like I said, it's,
I just want to know where the if there's another place, and Hillary, I respect your opinion and advice as a board member on education because you're focused there. So if there is another place, but still we're dealing with an unrestricted fund that we have excess money in. And yeah, we can just keep setting aside and that rainy day just keeps building up, but that's just as bad. We don't want that rainy fund. We don't want a rainy day fund of $5 million. So we have to put it somewhere.
No, we can put it in the unrestricted fund.
Yeah, but is that still the same as a rainy day fund? You don't want, how much money are we allowed?
We can approve this budget and put that $200,000 in the unrestricted fund, which then if we choose later to use for the Bolt, or if we choose to use it for academic promotion of some sort, then we could use it for either. Is that correct?
Yes.
So explain rainy day and unrestricted then.
Okay, well, the line is actually titled Reserve for Contingencies on your budget. It is currently at $905,000. That's how much right now we have set aside for a rainy day or for, the boiler project.
boiler
Or anything that could happen.
Anything.
Yeah,
Well,
anything.
for instance.
A hot water heater in our world is
Yeah.
$50,000.
Let alone a refrigerator in the cafeteria.
Right. So in this budget, that's how much is set aside in reserve for contingency. That's just the budget.
Mhm.
When I do the financial and present it to you in September, then that number gets trued up to what we actually have that we can use for that purpose. This is not a true number. This is just a budgeted number.
Mhm.
So we could put the 200,000 there and approve the budget as is with that change. Because what I would do in that case is I would switch 119 and 120. The money right now for the bowl is sitting in 119 under intra-fund transfers. It would simply switch to line 120 for reserve for contingencies. We can make those kind of changes
Yeah.
all night long.
Yeah, but 119, that's not the bolt. Because we don't have $1 million for the bolt. So, I mean, there's a bunch of different things in there.
Correct.
Yeah.
All I was saying is that dollar amount, the
Yeah.
250 that's set aside would just go.
Yeah, so it's not, when you go back up there to the Fund 11, that's all broke out, 200,000, that's going to go in 120, and it's the same thing. It looks like that on paper, but until that money's spent actually, then it's the same.
It's literally,
It's
it's sitting in one.
I mean, any of these
Yeah.
that we are saying,
Yeah.
like we currently have some money left over in, let's say handyman from last year when we put money in there. Our handyman crews weren't as active last year with some projects. So we will have that carryover as well as the new amount that we're budgeting. And that money will sit there until you as a board say, we don't want all that money there, we want it to go here. And then I'll set up a completely different project and transfer it.
Yeah.
So these are just board restricted funds.
Dr. Minnie, I think there's recommendations there. Do you have a
I got-
recommendation?
You know, got several different options there. First,
Hold on, where are we at?
But we don't, yeah, you
Yeah.
can go over the options, but we don't vote.
yeah, we don't vote till actually it goes into new business. She's just presenting the budget.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions about any of these other crazy numbers? Of course, on that same first page there, I didn't go over Fund 12 with you, I'm sorry. So it should be the very last page is your Fund 12 budget, and I'm so sorry, we flipped to the front and I forgot. So these funds are set up in the buckets that we had approved by the voters back when this particular levy started. These buckets will change a little bit for 28 because we have a few different priorities in our new levy. So this is based on the old levy, and I have them separated by those buckets of money, by a project number so that we can tell, how we're doing with spending. We did increase the instructional support line to include things to help support clubs and student leadership organizations. That's not something that had been budgeted in the past. So there is extra instructional money there for that, as well as some money toward dues and fees. That's on line 13 and 15. So that's in there in case we, need some things like there may be dues that they have to pay to be part of, let's say, National Honor Society or.
Entry fees,
Yeah.
to compete somewhere, or
Yeah,
do
so we've
something.
got that money in there set aside as opposed to, me just trying to grab it from wherever I can. And then that 99102 primarily is budgeted for all of the different substitutes. It does have coaching positions in it, and this is another one of those areas where I missed one of our positions went from being a person that was employed by us to a person that was more of a citizen coach, and I did not get that budgeted. That's why there's a difference on line 31. So then if you go back to page 1, you have a summary from what we just went over with Fund 11, all those special projects and the set-asides. You have what we just went over in Fund 12, and then like Brett said, Fund 61, those are all just estimates that the state has given us, or I've budgeted them based on last year, and this is just simply required. It actually is mostly a waste of time because we don't control any of that, and they don't even know the amounts in. And that is all I have unless.
Thank you so
someone has
much, Ginger.
Well, thank you guys. And I think it's a great idea to do a work session, and Dr. May and I will work that out for next May.
All right. Thank you, Ginger. All right. We have no delegations at this time. Lisa, is that correct? Okay.
Wow, are we just a delegation?
Yeah, exactly. Reports, discussion. Yeah, well, next time we'll limit it next. Reports and discussion, we have none. All right, so we're the consent
Thank
agenda.
goodness.
Start with the minutes. Holy cow.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of May 4th, 2026.
Second.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the regular meeting minutes of May 4th, 2026. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that made motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, we have bills for payment. Ginger?
Okay, so you're probably sick of hearing me talk, so I'm not gonna talk a lot about these. You should have had 2 sets of bills for payment. I'm not looking at your agenda to see, but you gave us permission to pay up through May 15th, which we did. And those, hopefully we provided those to you separately.
I don't see them here.
I'm sorry. So we're making budget. So that one doesn't have anything attached in that section.
TJ's false, Larry.
Yes. we're gonna let you
Larry,
do
you
it.
have your hard copy.
I've got a copy here too.
No, ma'am, I have mine.
Do we need to recess?
Anyway, there wasn't anything unusual. The things that we paid up to the 15th were primarily utilities and the P card statement. Because it had come in literally like the day we had the board meeting, I believe. And that one, if we don't pay really quickly, then there's late fees and it's also really hard to balance. So that's what you had for the things that were done before the meeting. And then the things that were done this meeting, I didn't see anything that was unusual. It was our normal bills, the food and all of those types of things that we pay monthly.
I have,
Anyone have any questions?
I have two.
Okay,
On the food one,
okay.
it deals with, you got a note here, employee thought a PO was already in place when they made a purchase.
Yes. That is what happened. We have a process in place for that, but there were a couple people that are part of the process that were absent that day. So she really did think that the last PO we did covered, it's a student that needs a special non-dairy milk. So they.
Understood. I would have gone and got it too. Not that answers that part, that one.
If I'd been here, I probably would have just done a 20 now, but.
Yeah,
Um,
that's one that the auditor can write us up and I'll look at him and say, sorry about your luck.
Yeah, I mean, we just wrote we try really hard to be transparent, especially in things like that. That way, if anyone looks at it, the dates are clearly not in order, but
Right.
it is, we had to have it. And
Took care of the kid, that's all that counts.
Took care of the kid, that's right.
All right, the other one, and this is more of a question, I suppose. We do, because we're paying a bill here for transporting people from end of Hollow A to the mouth of the road. That's, I assume there's a form they fill out, something? How to,
That's something that's determined by the transportation director. You mean, how do they become eligible for that?
yeah, because the reason my question was I had somebody that said something to me, they transport their daughter 5 miles a day, one way.
I mean, I would
I'm-
recommend that they reach out to Mr. Frazier and see what
Can you tell me how far this person travels?
I cannot. Just
Can you tell me the road?
Yeah, Cedarville,
No, I don't know that one off the top of my head.
Butcher's Bend, Butcher's Road.
I'd have to ask. I'd
Butcher
have to
Holler.
ask.
Butcher's Fork.
We don't have a ton of them, but we do have some that get, and
Right. Well,
there's been multiple reasons for that, that one's probably been done for a long time,
Yeah, the
truthfully.
ones that we are paying have been done.
Well, this one-
before I got here.
the young lady is, well, the young lady is elementary student. And they didn't know until somebody said they got paid. So he asked. They were told no. So I'm questioning, if we pay one,
Well, what you're seeing on the bill list is not that person directly. We are actually paying a contract bus to pick them up and bring them. This is not
A
a
bus.
parent or a student.
it is a bus, an approved vehicle, in other words.
Yes.
Okay.
Because we currently do not pay any payment in lieu of transportation, which is what that's
Okay,
earned from the state.
not a problem. It's an
That
approved.
doesn't mean we shouldn't. I'm just saying.
Well, no, I'm just trying to figure out, like Brenda said, we get, sometimes we get a data boy and sometimes you get a, and I could not answer his
I just
question.
honestly have to look to see what you're talking about, and look at the student to
Yeah, I
see
would
where they
just
live
reach
and
out
things.
To Mr. Frazier, because I'm sure if they're eligible, he would take care of it.
Because I would ask, what's an approved bus? Is it? that
Can't
kind of
help
thing.
what you don't know. Did you?
Yeah, but anyway, I will go that route. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anybody have any other questions?
Any other questions for Ginger on bills for payment?
Nope.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the bills as presented.
Second. All right, it's been properly moved and presented, or moved and seconded. We got all kinds of things here. To approve the bills for payment as presented. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, we have budget supplements and transfers. Ginger.
Yes, you actually only have one budget supplement in your packet. This was a grant that came in just, for the moment, we didn't know it was coming. And it's already been processed by me. It just has to be approved by you and then I have to send it back to the state with our approval.
$330.
Transfers this time. I'm sorry,
$330.
$330, yes.
That's a big one.
I know.
Make a motion to approve the budget transfer as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the budget supplements and transfers as presented. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, we have the cash report.
Seems like I either don't talk to you at all, or I just keep talking. We have cash in the bank at the end of April of $4.3 million. I couldn't give that to you in the first meeting because I didn't have it ready.
Okay, questions on cash report? No
No, sir.
actions needed. Mr. Barton.
This one, the other form that you give us, the one that's,
Lots more information.
yeah, right. Is that the same one you send to Charleston?
You mean the quarterly?
The one, yeah.
We actually don't have to send anything to them now because they have a system of their own that pulls the data out of our system and gives them monthly reports. We have to have our stuff closed by the 10th of each month, and then they pull it somewhere right after the 10th.
Okay, so what they're pulling, is that what we're getting?
Yes, it's a version of it, yes. Theirs probably has more numbers, like yours doesn't have very many account numbers on it because they don't mean much to
Right.
us. But they probably would get an account number version because they keep track of whether we're charging something incorrectly. and
Okay.
that type of thing.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right, so we're moving on to open enrollment. Dr. Manny.
Got a couple open enrollments here, students for the 26-27 school year, pre-K from Lewis and a grade 6 from Doddridge. Recommend making a motion to approve the open enrollment as presented.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the open enrollment students for the 2026-2027 school year as presented by the superintendent. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right. We will now move into new business and start with approval of the FY27 budget. Dr. Minnie, do you have recommendations?
I've listed three options there for you guys to discuss, and the first would be to recommend making a motion to approve the current budget as presented. That's as the first option. Option 2 would be recommend making a motion to approve the budget as presented and reduce the Fund 11 county line item there, 625, the Bolt, to a certain amount that's determined by you all, and move that into the contingency fund, a certain amount, whatever that may be. There's $200,000 there. And then option 3 would be recommending for a motion to approve the budget as presented with the Fund 11 00625, the Bolt, and remove those funds and add them to the 11,76321.842.00 reserve for contingencies.
I make a motion to approve the budget as presented with Fund 11, line item 00625, the Bolt removed, and funds added to the Fund 11.76321.842.000 reserved for contingencies.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to go with option 3 to.
Can we not talk about option 2?
We will. We'll get comments here in a minute. I'm making a motion to approve the budget as presented with Fund 11, item 00625, the Bolt being removed, and the funds added to the Fund 11.76321.842.000 reserved for contingencies. At this time, do we have any comments, questions, discussions?
I
Number
just
two.
would like to just work together as a board and try to, I was willing to horse trade a little bit with you, saying that we would take off the however much that we put into whatever that project is here at the school, take that out, lower that amount from 200,000 down to 50 or below. I mean, I think that's pretty,
So Brett, this allows us to put this money
but
into
it
the
can still,
contingency
it's gonna
fund.
put, yeah,
And
it may
we
still
can-
be used however.
And we can discuss it later when we have a workshop or something and decide if we want to do that. I felt sideswiped this morning.
I know, Hillary, you might have felt that way, but we did the same thing last year. You might have just passed,
And we
because I know we
spent
do a lot of stuff.
150.
I know we do a lot of stuff. I know we
Brett,
do a
don't
lot of stuff.
gaslight me. I didn't
I'm not
put
gaslighting you.
$400,000 into the vault. I did not do that.
I understand. You might not have known you were doing it,
Don't gaslight me, Brett.
I'm not.
I know what
I'm
I'm
not.
doing.
but we did though. That is the fact. We
And
did.
we've spent pretty close to $200,000 now on it,
150.
plus
Close
the
to
25 for the parking lot. which
That has
takes
to be
us up
done
to
anyways. That has to be
175.
done anyways. That does. That's a safety thing for the employees that work here.
You know,
And they have
I am
ball
more
practice.
than willing to have a discussion about this, but I'm not willing to be sideswiped on a Tuesday morning on something I never agreed to.
Well, let's
So-
discuss it. I mean, let's compromise a little. Let's put something in there.
I'm not willing to do that today. I'm upset because this happened without a discussion.
I'm upset as well.
So, you know, we're
Because-
both upset now.
Yeah.
Why don't we cool off, put it in the general fund
Not
and
at you.
revisit it later?
I'm not upset.
Well,
at
and I'm
you.
not upset at
Yeah.
you either.
No, I'm
But-
not upset at you.
To me, I see our one job in this county as a Gilmer County Board of Education is to educate and make our future citizens productive.
Yeah.
And we have spent a blank ton of money on sports this last year.
Yeah.
Give academics a chance.
We have, and I think we do. But in the same sense, I don't think that we've put very much money into it years of past. And we're just trying to catch up with what everybody else is doing. And I think that putting money into sport also attracts people to our county. I think being able to play at Glenville State, at the Waco Center, attracts kids to this because they're like, man, we get to go play on that field, or they get to play out here at the Sue Morris Complex.
I don't think much attracts people to Gilmer County.
Well, that's the difference between you.
You know,
and
I think we
love where
have
I
the
live.
responsibility to educate the kids that are here, to break the cycles
And I
that
think we
we
are.
keep repeating.
And we have excess money. We still have excess money. That's-
I don't
and what-
like to pee
where-
away money when
I
we
understand,
know there's big things that could be disastrous in the future. And I am not sold on the Bolt until we sit down as a group and come up with a 10-year plan.
I would
You know,
love
Larry
to do that.
swears we can fix the high school. I think that would be a money pit.
No,
So-
I'll fix part of it because I cannot put science labs in the elementary school.
Well, but we may have to build extra to the elementary school. I mean, I'm just looking at
Well, I
potentially a 100-year-old building and what are we going to do with it? So I think we as a group first need to decide our 10-year plan for 500 students and then build everything around that. Because what if we invest hundreds of $1,000s into the Bolt and we figure out the high school craps out in a few years and
I wish I had a fortune teller. I tell you.
well, I do too. But we know the population continues to decline. And we know
We've
based
heard one
on,
person speak. We've heard one speak.
okay, now let's not just say one person. This guy has a doctorate in economics from WVU. So,
I'm not putting him down. I'm just saying that's
The
one.
legislature.
and we can look at the trend over the last 10 years.
I agreed with everything you said. I'm just.
So
That's it.
I am not comfortable throwing money around until we have a solid plan for the next 10 years.
Well, we just let our buildings dilapidate and then we're not gonna have to worry about it because they're gonna shut us down. All of our kids are gonna go someplace else anyway.
Well, and that's, you know, that is definitely could be our 10-year plan if we are not
I
fiscally
hope
responsible right now. You know, it's not going to be sports that saves us, sadly.
It's helped secondary education.
It's going to be our academic achievements that save us. And I'm not saying that I will never put money to the Bolt. I'm saying, let's sit down, let's talk about it, let's make a 10-year plan, and let's make the best decisions for the kids in this county.
Yeah.
You know, and
I
this
didn't
allows
see
us
it.
to do that.
I didn't see it as a 10-year plan. I was hoping that we
Well, I
would be able to
know.
raise funds and try to get some grant money and work with the community a little bit more. However, that's not how the process has been.
Well, and
So-
personally, I think we need to give that our all before we look at, funding something that is not integral to the
That's your opinion.
academics of our county. It is my opinion. That's why I'm saying
I
it.
think it does. I think that if you look at you had said, you had talked to Diane about the 1/3 of our kids being in sports. There's kids that I know that live out here that have nothing to do with sports. But I also think that if you go and you look at our sports kids, I think you'll find that that's 1/3 of your brightest kids in your school system as well.
Well,
because it is a
but
student
weightlifting doesn't
athlete.
make them bright.
Actually, it makes them healthier and does help them. Yeah, it actually does.
Well, I'm not saying it doesn't help them. I'm saying it doesn't make them bright.
It does. It makes them smarter.
Well, I'm not going to agree with you, and you're not going to agree with me.
Yeah.
So
You got a motion in a second, buddy.
this is
Go right ahead.
Yep.
what
We're not going to
I
get anywhere today.
suggest for the moment.
Hillary's just going to keep talking at me, and I'm going to keep talking back at her. We're not going to get anywhere. So.
Right.
Any other discussion, amendments on the item from any other board member? I'm hearing crickets. All right, so we're a motion and a second to go with number 3. All in favor, say aye.
Will you go one by one, please?
You want a roll call?
Yeah,
I
roll
can do
call,
that.
please. Yep.
Mr. Chapman, I'll let you vote first.
Nay.
Okay, I vote aye. But Dr. Miller,
Aye.
that Mr. Freshour.
Aye.
Nay.
Okay, it passes 3-2. We'll move on to the next item. Approval of textbook adoption. Dr. Minnie.
So we've got health, music, art, driver's ed, and personal finance up. We've attached there on a PDF, the faculty senate curriculum vote, GCHS. The personal finance is Cengage, McGraw Hill for health for grades 6 through 12. The art of education, visual arts, grades 6 through 12. Music First for music and bands, grades 6 through 12. American Automobile Association for driver's education. Quavar Ed for elementary health, grades K through 5. Quavar Ed for elementary music, grades K through 5. And the art of education for elementary visual arts, K through 5.
Make a motion to approve the adoption of the textbooks as voted on by the faculty senate as presented by the superintendent.
Second.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the adoption of textbooks as voted on by the faculty senate as presented by Dr. Minnie. Lisa, I did know Mrs. West was on the phone. Is she still there or have anything that she needs to share before we take a vote?
No, I don't need to add anything.
Okay. All righty. All in favor of that motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to Neola policy update 2111, parent and family engagement. Dr. Minnie.
So this is one of the things on our audit that they asked us to be able to have was a Gilmer County LEA family engagement plan with policy 2111. Policy 211 will not change, but this now aligns with the legislative requirements for the family engagement with the Third Grade Success Act. The district's plan, which you've got the PDF there, that plan will just be attached to the policy. The policy change itself, the policy is not going to change, doesn't need to go out on comment or anything like that. But what plan that they reference in that policy, this would be the plan that we would need to have. So I recommend making a motion to approve the district plan for parent-family engagement to accompany policy 2111 as presented there.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it has been properly moved and seconded to accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve the district plan for parent and family engagement to accompany policy 2111 as presented. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to approval of out-of-state professional development to Model Schools Conference in Orlando, Florida. Dr. Manning.
So this is part of the CSI school designation. A part of that would be used for professional development. They've got specific topics that they've kind of went down through the model school conference and going to research things to be doing with this subgroup of students. And this is the professional leave request to use those CSI funds to attend those sessions. So the request for model schools in Orlando, Florida, this trip is fully federal funded. And the sessions to be attended will be selected ahead of time in order to align them with the funding source that's approved in the budget. So they have specific topics that they are going to go and get professional development for at CSI. So they've already got those actually approved by the CSI folks, correct, Mr. Bryce?
Correct, Dr. Millie. I actually have, at least, these would be at a minimum sessions. These are the things that align with our needs. So if the board would like to receive these, I'd be happy to give them to them.
Please.
Yep, sure.
We're in the application that was approved by the Office of Federal Programs. Martin, if you'll take one and pass it down, please. They're not colored, but they are stapled.
I missed a page.
Maybe. Maybe not.
I was gonna say, is that a colored one I saw? I'm,
Yours.
Oh, that's mine.
You just
you
chipped
got a colored
us.
one, we get, we see how it is,
That's
yeah.
the entire, thanks.
All right, Mr. Price, do you have anything else that you need to let us know about that? Wow.
No, I've got a team assembled. It will be 6 of us, classroom teachers, the assistant principal, and myself would be those in attendance for the conference for a total of 6. This is a nationally renowned conference. I've heard Dr. Denny speak at this conference before. I've never attended. However, we went very heavy on the professional development with our CSI funds for that first year of our designation. And I felt, and the team felt, that this would be a good use of those funds to go out and seek and get some of the latest cutting edge professional development, best practices, best programs in other schools, so that we might be able to learn from that and maybe bring some of those things back here to Gilmer County to help us out.
It's kind of what I equate it to as the SREB of elementary school. It kind of provides you with a framework of school improvement and solving the instructional gaps and student data, and they have expert speakers there that not only present there, but you can also participate throughout the year. We sat through model schools and the Bill Daggett stuff for years in Braxton, if you remember that, and a lot of good presentations.
And I would just like to say, this is in Orlando, Florida, and it is walking distance to Disney. So if these
You need a chaperone.
Gilmer County, these employees are not going to be going to Disney on taxpayer dime. However, at the end of the conference, if that is what they choose to do on their own funds, on their own time, they may do that. If you saw a picture on Facebook and you thought that's what you were approving, that's not what these funds are being paid for. It's going to be very clear.
I guarantee you, you won't get in for a dime.
That's a fact.
Show your card before you go.
So moved.
Second.
All right. So it's been properly moved and seconded to accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve the out-of-state professional development to the Model Schools Conference in Orlando, Florida. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion?
My computer isn't working.
All right, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, we don't have any old business, so we're going to personnel. Dr. Minnie.
There was a discussion of possible act.
Oh, sorry, there is. Thank you, Dustin. So I forgot number 5, discussion or possible action on academic and career recognition. And I believe this was an item Dr. Miller would like on the agenda.
Yes, and it's no big thing. I just wanted all of us to think about and consider what we need to do. I think we started today. I saw the Project Connect had Kenley Minnick, the valedictorian, signing her, college career at Glenville State, doing a signing like we have done for sports for many, many years. And I want to see our academic kids honored as much or more than the sports kids. I think they've earned that. And I've had this discussion several times with Dr. Minnie, and I don't know if it's fair to have Project Connect have to get all this information together, or if it's something that we need to create a stipend for. Because I would like to see, like I noticed Braxton County, every single senior, they took their senior picture, then they did a little blurb on Facebook about what they were going to do with their life, whether they were going to take a technical job, whether they were going to go to beauty school, whether they were going to go to college. And I would like to see that done for every single senior, because, and it's not so much just academics, but I would like to promote and show our community what our seniors are doing. So if that senior is going to take a job with the Toyota plant, I would, like to promote that senior for that. And of course, they could opt out if they wanted. And so also, I want to do billboards, like we do the senior posters for the sports teams. They have great big posters, and I don't know how that's done. I think
parents pay for it.
maybe I bought Caitlin's, I think.
Yeah, parents pay for
But I would like to have that option for, and I mean, we can decide on whatever parameters, whether it's honor students, whether it's promise scholars, whatever. But I would like to see, those people honored as well, because, the academic work is at least equivalent to the sports work that they've done.
I think it was very nice seeing Mrs. Minnie being recognized as well.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, she had a strapping young man to her left.
Yeah.
The Project Connect I don't know how in-depth you want to get with all of those recognitions. Project Connect can probably handle that. My recommendation is to use Project Connect because they already have the setup for how we distribute that stuff, if that makes sense.
Well, and I was
But
talking
if-
to Daniel Reed.
If you get another person, we could add another person to do
Mhm.
specifically that to that. That might help.
I was talking to Daniel Reed because he said he used to do billboards about who got what scholarships and things like that. That hasn't been done for a long time at the high school. And, he said that he would be willing to, revive some of those things that we used to do, but I think we need to promote these kids, especially the high achieving ones, because, the undergrads look up to these people
Mhm.
and they see, so-and-so got the Promise Scholarship. So that's cool. I want to do that too. And, that's the only way we're going to reach some of the younger grades. And I think that's how sports works. They see these people, they got to whatever.
All-state, yeah.
And so, they're excited about that. But yeah, I think it just supports a good climate at the school, and makes the undergraduates want to achieve the things that they see the upper graduates. And I want to see, especially the Career Center kids, and they do a really good job of promoting and honoring their kids. But, I want to see the stuff from them. Are they taking a job as an electrician? Are they, going to be a CNA? Or, what people are doing with their life, so that our community sees how we're doing our mission, which is to have productive future citizens.
I think one of the things that you're after, Mr. Fox was supposed to get for this year, like the kids that scored such and such on the SAT,
Mhm.
there'll be a wood plaque coming into the building with their name on it.
Yeah.
And for the ones that actually take the SAT that score,
Well, I've actually been talking to Tony for several years about
Right.
about these things, and we're just now starting to realize some of them.
And dealing with your video, of course, this would have been a video because it would have been 20 years ago. But at Williamstown, they did a senior video. They videoed each senior.
Mhm.
And of course, we had like, I can't remember what we had here. We had the TV in each room and they showed it.
Yeah.
The senior video when it
Yeah.
was coming down, they did that. And that's kind of what you're talking.
Mhm.
The more publicity you can pat a kid on
Right.
the back, the better off you are.
And so my reasoning in putting this is on the agenda was just so that everyone could think about, do we need a stipend for a person to specifically be in charge of these things to make sure that they get done? Because, really, like the thing that you're seeing now with Kinley Minnick, really, we should start this in, March, April.
Sounds like we need a list of those things that we want to see.
Well, yeah,
Just like a
a
work list
list,
for
and do we need
buildings or
someone to
whatever
be
else
in
we
charge of it, or are we gonna just delegate each thing to people?
I think if Dr. Mooney could look at those possibility and options and bring it back to a future meeting.
Because I don't wanna, I don't
I'll just
want,
have to talk to project.
Yeah, I
to
don't
really
want to
see how
feel
they can,
And your
like
guidance
we're
counselors,
dumping on
definitely.
them.
yeah, I'd have to see what kind of volume that they can handle,
Mhm.
I looked at, we had that poster down there, 2,700 and some posts that we put through project. And that's a lot of volume.
Right.
So in order to, and one thing that we did when we decided to do the kind of signing day, we said, well, let's not put that out all at once, let's stagger it. So it's not like.
But I think we should start earlier. Really, a college kid should be signing by October of the fall of their senior year. I learned that the hard way because by the time we got around to doing it in February, all the dorms were full. So really, we should be encouraging kids to be signing October, November, December to give them a chance to get dorms and everything. And I'm not sure that we communicate that effectively with the kids, but that's what I found out by trial and error. So, really, as soon as kids start signing, we could start putting it out. And of course, it would be optional if they didn't want to participate or whatever. But, as they start signing, they could be letting people know. And, we could be trickling this out through, January through May or whatever.
And other spotlights and things that we could do, we put on Project Connect's radar. If they know that we want to highlight every senior, I think they'd make it happen. They'd figure out a
Mhm.
way. We just got to figure those things out that we want to do.
And, I saw that Braxton, when they do it, they use the senior picture. So, of course, when I talked to you, you said, well, we don't have pictures of it yet. So, we could use senior pictures, or we could start the signings in the fall of their senior year and just start trickling them out.
Oh, I was talking about pictures of the actual signing.
Well,
When they sign,
mhm.
we had to set up the schedule with the universities to come in one day to actually take the signing.
And personally, I don't care if Mansion is in the picture. Maybe the kids do. You could ask them, I guess. To me, it would be more important to have the parents there and, let the kid be a big shot for their family. And
Right.
Well, I
Yeah.
think having Mansion there shows that,
well, and I'm fine with that. But if it's a detriment, if we can't do it because we can't get,
his schedule,
yeah,
But
then to me,
I thought I was actually really impressed. that he
yeah,
was-
to me, then it's,
You wanted to
You've
come?
got two things.
Yeah, I like it.
You got two things you're signing, you're discussing. A is if I decide I'm going to WVU
Mhm.
and that's where I'm going to school, that's one thing. If I got a scholarship to WVU,
Mhm.
that's a different
Yeah.
entity. So you got to decide, do you want
The signings
one
would
or
be
the other or
different.
both?
Well, I think the scholarships and stuff should be listed like they did in Braxton when they put their senior picture on Facebook. They say, this is so-and-so, this is what they've done, this is the scholarships they're getting, they're going to wherever. And then I think the signing should be a special thing
Right.
that invites their parents and lets them be a big shot to their family.
Right.
And
So so you don't care, like I said, it's the senior part and the scholarship they get is separate kind of thing. So that's where I'm coming from. So you can do the one in October, but you couldn't do the other one till this time it would have been late. I mean, you can do both, or you can do what you said and have the picture and say, this is what,
And I don't care. I just want to see them recognized.
I understand that. I'm just trying,
Yeah.
uh,
Project Connect can sit down, or Mr. Reed or whoever, and they can come up with the best way to do it. I just want to see that promoted and to see those kids recognized. Because, there are years in the past that there's nothing on Facebook about, our kids that get the Promise Scholarship or, that graduate with highest honors. I mean, in fact, probably this year may be the first year I've seen that, and that's because I've been beating a dead horse, but that's.
We can meet with Project Connect and put a plan and bring it back to the board to see if you guys like that plan, to see, all of the different ideas of what they recommend us to do at what point in time.
I think that's a great idea.
Do we need to make a motion to table it to the future, or do we need a motion?
I mean,
make a motion to
If we
start the
need,
ball
Yeah.
rolling and have him secure some info and bring it back.
okay, so, all right, so somebody put
Second.
that in okay, so Larry, a motion and a second, and I'm gonna try to paraphrase this. To let Dr. Minnie work with Project Connect for them to put a plan together and bring back to the board at a later date as to how we want these recognitions presented and posted on different platforms. Good?
Yep.
Okay. Any further discussion or amendments to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, we have no business, so that'll move us into personnel, Dr. Minnie.
Okay, professional recommendations, Courtney Clevenger, elementary music teacher, Gilmer County Elementary School. Emily Freimeyer, elementary, 4th grade, Gilmer County Elementary School.
so moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the professional portion of the personnel agenda. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, on to service.
There's one service here that I'm going to hold off on the recommendation to justify the DOT requirements. I haven't got a chance to review those in depth yet, but I'm going to recommend Sheila Gross, classroom supervisory transportation aide, grade 2, Gilmer County Elementary School, and Norman Eisenhart, bus operator, Rosedale area.
So moved.
So, second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to accept the service portion of the personnel agenda as presented. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion? I'll say that I'm glad to see we got a Rosedale driver back. Normally that's blank on the agenda.
Yep.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, on to extracurricular.
Extracurricular, Woodrow McCullough, extra duty mechanic, all locations.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to accept the extracurricular portion of the personnel agenda as presented. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. On to resignations.
Resignation, Josh Spunogle, auxiliary middle school baseball coach.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to accept the resignations portion of the personnel agenda as presented. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right. Now we're under continuous improvement, and we have the CSI report. Dr. Minnie.
I've got Mr. Price here.
And
He's
Miss-
going to do a little presentation to catch you up
Lucky
to
Mr.
speed
Price.
on the CSI designation.
Well, I didn't realize this would be a longer meeting. I brought this down to about 45 minutes.
That's good.
So if that's okay.
Strike. I move to strike.
You can't leave till we're done.
That's right. I have no intention of doing so. What I'm passing out right now is the diagnostic report provided to us by the team that came to Gilmer County Elementary School. We received this on the 15th of May. I am not going to put you on the spot and read all of this to you. I'll just summarize some of this for you. I have a couple of highlighted things that I would like to share with you. And then obviously for you to have the time to digest this report and to take a look at it. And then of course, if there are follow-up questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those kinds of things and talk about that. But I'm going to skip over here to page 2 at the bottom, just to give you an idea. We had 3 team members that descended upon Gilmer County Elementary School. They did 22 classroom observations, did interviews with 12 teachers, had, of course, myself and Mrs. Hartshorn and the counselor also, provided interviews with these people. And what they provided us with, starting on page 3 here, are a list of conclusions and recommendations for different domains of which they were observing and looking for when they were at Gilmer County Elementary School. And as a reminder to the board, the reasoning for our CSI designation is not our overall achievement academically. It is because the subgroup of students with disabilities within our school in grades 3 through 5 have not made adequate progress on the general summative assessment, so that end of the year testing over a 3-year period. And so what I'm looking at here on page 3 here, interviews with school leadership, which included myself and Mrs. Hartshorn, and staff indicated a strong commitment to goal-driven decision-making. My general takeaway from this, there is a lot of positive to this. They had very positive things to say about our school, and I was glad to hear that. They also made some good recommendations. Here in the conclusions, interviews and a review of leadership practices indicated that the school has established strong leadership team structures and meeting routines. We do meet regularly. They were able to see that. The agendas have been shared with them. The minutes of those meetings have been shared with them. So they are essentially a part of our leadership team now. Staff interviews and leadership discussions reflected consistent focus on and CWD stands for Children with Disabilities. So you're going to see that throughout this. Prior to the formal identification, which means that we were having conversations as a leadership team about our students with IEPs not making the progress that we would expect for them to see prior to this happening. So when we did receive this designation, we were in agreement to say, hey, we do have a problem to solve here. And had been having conversations about that for a little while. Interviews consistently described school leadership as collaborative, approachable, and open to change. Staff noted that leaders actively seek feedback and demonstrate willingness to refine systems and practices to better support children with disabilities. And some of the recommendations out of this domain 1 came to sustain and refine leadership practices that prioritize goal-driven decision-making. This is actually a part of the CSI process where they work with our leadership team. They provide us with a template that they would like us to use. And so we do use that template now. It has refined that practice already somewhat. Continue to build on the school's early focus on children with disabilities. And I appreciate that they recognize that we've had to focus on those students for some time. Incorporate targeted reflection questions into PLCs, which we have started to do that already by using the state's template for our leadership team meetings. Another thing that came out of this was the possibility of refining our PLC process, which are our professional learning communities, and we have several within the building, be it subject or grade level or special education. So I would like to explore the idea, and our leadership team is in favor of this as well, bringing in maybe a company like Solution Tree to help us work with our PLCs and make sure that we're doing those as best practices. So that's something that you can probably look forward to hearing about me asking to spend some money on in the future.
What's a PLC?
Professional Learning Community. So essentially, we have different PLCs. You can think of our leadership team as a PLC, our grade levels as a PLC, our art, music, and PE teachers, they have their own PLC. They are very involved in a lot of the different activities that happen within the school. So there are a lot of different PLCs, and the way that we structure those is very important. How often we meet, what are our goals, what are our norms, and those could be refined. We do have those in place, and I'm proud of how we have them in place, but they could be improved upon. And I think it's to the point we could get some help with that. Domain 2, observations reflected the presence of truth intervention structures. I was proud of that. They were able to observe that our school structure aligns with multi-tiered systems of support. They would recommend that we sustain and protect effective intervention structures by continuing to align intervention time and schedules rather than placement. So they would like for us to have a dedicated intervention time in our schedule, which I think is an interesting prospect. We are having conversations about that as a leadership team now. Again, I didn't want to read all of this to you, but I wanted to provide you with some of the recommendations that they did have. Another recommendation that stood out to me, it said, strengthen collaboration and co-teaching practices by increasing shared planning time between general and special education teachers. That's a difficult task to do, especially when you're talking about special education schedules, because they can be rather cumbersome, and we don't want to prioritize a teacher's schedule over the services that the student provides. And so that's kind of the situation we get in with that sometimes. I'm now on page 5 here. Looking at some of these recommendations, they would like us to continue to strengthen our PBIS implementation through ongoing collaboration with, and that is the Marshall University's department that supports us. We are partnered with them, and I believe so is the high school. They would like for us to sustain and refine tiered attendance supports by regularly reviewing attendance, particularly for children with disabilities. That is now a standing agenda item on our monthly attendance team. So we've taken that recommendation, and we actually met this week. They provided us with a portal that tells us monthly, up to date, what our children with disabilities attendance rate is, which is interestingly better than our students without disabilities. The overall school attendance is actually worse than our children with disabilities, and that's lopsided from what the state usually sees. So our children with disabilities are in regular attendance to school. And to strengthen family engagement within the IEP process by implementing a parent feedback and a tool prior to meetings. I have forwarded that out. They would like for us to get input from parents outside of their own parent report to allow parents to have some input into the IEP writing process. So I don't want to read all of this. However, I would be happy to answer questions about this after you've had an opportunity to read all of it. In the meantime, are there any questions for me?
Any questions for Mr. Price?
Nope.
Looks like we're good. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right, that'll move us into the superintendent's update.
All right, just a few things here. We're going to have a full day of school on Friday. Just to make sure everybody knows, we still got things going on. We've decided to do that to save, it kind of helps our attendance rate. We've had it on the schedule. We, in past years, have called and let those students out, but we still got things going on Friday. Our attendance rate is 15.30%, and our goal was 15%. Our chronic absent rate is really, really close to going in the yellow. We are so close. When we first started this, it was 34%. We've cut it in half. We've got finals scheduled up to the very last day of school. Certain things work for elementary and certain things work for high school. So we've planned to go to a full day of school Friday. I'm hoping all the kids get there, and I would really appreciate the parents sending everybody through Friday. We are so very close to reaching our goal with chronic absenteeism. We set the goal at 15% by 2027. I checked it today. It was 15.30. So it's very close. June 1st at 10 a.m., we have a staff award ceremony. I'm going to be serving ham dinner. If you guys would like to come and watch people get their service pins and so on and so forth. We got retirees. We're going to be honoring staff that day. June 2nd is Teacher Parent Day. Most of our staff will be out because they've already served in parent-teacher conferences. June 3rd, 4th, and 5th are OS days, so we'll all be out those days. Those are built into the calendar. Our next board meeting is the 22nd of June, and I will be on vacation that week. I'm going to have to call in. We scheduled this one. We usually don't have a second one in June, so I'll probably just have to call in or something like that. July 6th is our organizational meeting. So we're going to have one June 22nd, July 6th, and then again, July 13th. So we got several meetings there. I don't know if that's what we want to do, but we got several meetings scheduled there.
Should we try, not to interrupt you, but should we try since you're going to be going to go to the first week in June instead of the last? I mean, on the first meetings, I'm saying normally we have to. Do you want to move the June meeting date instead of trying to call in?
June 8th is the first meeting, or 6th. I thought it was the first, it was the 6th, wasn't it? July 6th, we have a meeting.
I just feel like I would be concerned trying to, with the phone and technology is sometimes, especially with us having to have your recommendations for you to be going and trying to do that over the phone.
So there
Yeah.
is no phone service.
Yeah.
Either not have it or
Yeah,
move it.
I mean, I would be in favor of moving. That's just my opinion. What's the pleasure? of the
You
board?
moving it to when?
I agree. Yeah, when we did this, we usually only have one meeting in June. We decided in case we needed it for any leftover stuff, we would put it on the schedule. If you remember that, you remember that?
I think so.
And so it doesn't make any difference. We can just have one meeting in June.
What are the rest of you think?
I'm fine,
I'm
whatever.
Just do June the 8th and leave the 22nd alone. I think that's the best option there.
Okay,
Save it
July
for next
6th would be our organizational meeting. So I wanted to give a little update on the science room. We've purchased all the equipment that was requested by the teachers, several different, I mean, everything from rocks to microscopes. The one thing that we did not purchase was the consumables that were going to go bad due to dissection. They have like an expiration date, and we said just hold off on that. We currently have our crew in Daniel Hill's room's getting kind of a facelift. They're having a tile removed, and our crew's set up to do the tile removal Thursday and Friday, which means that there'll be a tiling crew come in there and tile that and then put new lab station in that room. The 23rd of June is when we hear back from the SBA if we get the water project. So as soon as we hear back one way or the other, we're going to know what we need to do as far as bidding that out to get water into that room. I don't know exactly how much how you got a total off the top of your head. It's around $50,000, wasn't it? For consumables and
The work to the tile.
so
That's another 10.
Or the boiler and stuff that's about to go bad.
that water project we're estimating is going to be around
Waiting to
$50,000.
hear back from the SBA on that.
Positive vibes.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, we have a really bad boiler. We really do. I'm hoping that they'll fund that project because he literally told me that it was really, he's going to try to make it priority. This will be the last week of our weekly bulletins. I'll just be sending out email bulletins from here on out, but this is kind of the last week. Wanted to give a brief update on test scores. Had a good little bump in math. What I can tell, I can't release the scores yet until I get some things pulled out. Very small bump in ELA is what I could tell. It's hard to tell because the 11th graders haven't been factored in yet. Looks like we're about the same or maybe a couple percent higher. I think our test scores are going to go up in ELA and math. Going to be a little bit bigger bump in math though. So that's good. They're on the rise still yet.
We had a bigger place to go in math too.
Yeah. And my final statement is I just want to thank all the teachers and staff. I think we've had a great year. We've got a lot done, both academically, athletically. Our staff has done very well. Our kids have done well. We're almost finished up. I'm not going to jinx this before the last couple
couple days here. I do have one more meeting to schedule in June, and it's for, that might come before the 8th. So I'll look at that timeline. If I can do it on the 8th, I'm just going to wait till the 8th to do that. So that's all I got.
All righty, that'll move us into board member comments. We'll start with Mr. Chapman.
I would just like to reciprocate what Dr. Minnie said about students and staff. Just, we made it through another year. I think it's been a successful year. I think we grow each year in the right direction as far as I've been on the board, and I like the direction that we're going. I also just want to say, with the budget meeting today and the conversating back and forth, that I'm still glad that we can come together as a board and discuss stuff. And then, it may not always go my way, but that's the powers to be. So that's fine. But it's not going to stop me from working with you guys, and still making progress one way or the other. As long as it's progress,
That's right.
Mhm.
We're
That's-
getting there.
that we're getting there.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chapman. Again, I just would like to say, congratulations to everybody finishing up, congratulations to the graduates and their accomplishments, and getting to, higher education institutions and on jobs and things. I think, as we slide into the summer, everybody does want that little bit of a break, but, about, into beginning of July, we start rearing back up. I've talked with Dr. Minnie. I think there's a few things that, policy changes that might need to be made. I know we have a policy committee. I think that committee can meet and come up with some administrative guidelines to curb some situations that have occurred that were brought to my attention that I don't think we should let progress in the future. Again, the more cohesive and, the one forward focused path that we have is to make sure all the students are educated and become good, productive citizens. So, standing behind the goals and things that we set should always be a main focus, and will get us through some of those challenging times whenever things don't always work like they should. Dr. Miller.
I just want to say that I'm proud of all of our students, of our staff. We have come a long way in the last few years, and we continue to climb. And I can't wait to see where we are 5 years from now. I expect Gilmer County to be the one that the state holds up and says, you all should be more like this. And I think we're well on our way to that. I'm happy that we were able to discuss things. We have different opinions. That's normal. That's why there's a board of 5 people, so that we can get a variety of opinions and can still all come together and work towards the goal of bettering our students in many different ways. So everybody take a much deserved rest and come back refreshed and ready to reach for the stars.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. Mr. Fresher.
Happy into school.
Ditto.
Good work, everyone.
And Mr. Barton.
I got some concerns. For one, at the Career Center, we had 63 kids that filled out a request to go there. I only have 30 that have been scheduled to be allowed to go there. And scheduling high school kids myself for 15 to 20 years, I really don't understand this, because schedules for effective schools are based on student requests. Now, when you have singletons, when you're a small school, that's a pain. You can schedule Parkersburg High School or South a lot easier than you can schedule Gilmer County High School, because they don't have singletons. So that could be part of it. But we didn't have this many seniors that failed classes that weren't allowed to go down there, because not all of them are seniors. So if they didn't honor the student requests for this, I would think they probably didn't honor student requests much for anything else, because I guarantee you a computer didn't do this. It had to be done manually. So next board meeting we have, I'd like to see somebody come from the high school and explain to me how the scheduling process worked. I will be professional enough, I won't say what I really think of this, but this is appalling. So I would like to see that if possible. Also, administrative guideline or something from maybe a board policy on the use of the $100,000 that we punched out here in the back. I know the track team was in here twice a week, sometimes 6 in the morning, sometimes 3 days a week, and sometimes the kids came after we were done. I didn't see, I saw some junior high kids in here. I saw some, a wrestler or two in here. A couple sports, I didn't see anybody in here other than one young lady that was injured. So I think something needs to be done. Coaches don't get to decide whether they're going to use it or not. You're either stronger than other people, you're healthier than other people, or you get beat. I'm used to coming from a place that lifts 4 days a week. And you see their progress. You see what they do. They're competitive. Academically, they're competitive, and that translates into the other. So we put a facility, but it's not used. Coaches don't use it. You don't lift out of season, and when season comes, you don't lift. You might as well not lift it at all. So I think something needs to be done, whether we do that or where the administration at the high school tells their people, I want to see your schedule. I want to know when you're there. And if you're not there, guess what? Hit the highway. You don't get to decide. That's an administrative decision, comes from us. And also dealing with that, we're a small school. We have limited number of athletes. And when Gilmer played Doddridge in softball last week before last, third baseman for Doddridge softball team wasn't present. She was at the LK track meet. Because that was an important activity. Some of ours are told, my understanding is, choose one or the other. The Activities Commission says you can play more than one sport. So as a parent, if my kid wanted to do more than one, I'd hold somebody accountable. I'd be filing a grievance in a heartbeat. They're arbitrary, they're capricious. And if they retaliated against my kid and they were playing and now all of a sudden they didn't, that's harassment. So I think we need to do something that Gilmer's had kids that play dual sports. The more chances they do, like Mr. Chapman has said, scholarships come in academic ways, they come in athletic ways.
They come in both. That's the best ones.
Exactly. And the more, the better, the more, if you're athletically inclined, if you can get money from two coaches, that means the bill that Dr. Miller's got over here for her child going to school, which is Promise Scholarship doesn't cover, you should, let me have that thing a second.
$2,750 a semester.
So you understand where Mr. Chapman comes from with part of this. Like she said, it was $6,305 and Promise only
Per
covered
semester.
per semester. That's not room and board. That was just tuition. And Promise covered $2,750. She got another scholarship, but basically she owed $6,300 out of her pocket. You're an athletic person, that dips into that. We had a young lady that got a basketball signing scholarship to Glenville, and she was at track practice, and this is the first year she ever ran, and the track coach went to talk to her. So that's a little more money that family doesn't have to come out of their pocket. So we're doing our kids a great disservice when we tell them and we put pressure on them. Our job is to take care of kids, all kids, not a few, but all. And when people say you can't do both, I can't tolerate that. So that's all my real complaining. I would like to say, like everybody else, I appreciate the work that the kids and the staff put in this year. You've come a long way. We've got a ways to go, but you have worked at it. You have solved the task and you're trying to climb the ladder. So congratulations.
Any further comments from any member?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, is there a second?
I will be on vacation next week, so if anybody needs me, too bad.
Hey, let's bring this budget back up while she's not here.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, been properly moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Oh. Get her to walk down.
Huh?
And now Hillary, I know that I'm younger a couple of years and you got a couple of
The
years on
worst
me.
thing they can do is tell me I ain't a darn guy.
You're telling me not to gaslight